Okay, let's do this. Hey y'all, it's Brody. I don't even have a snappy intro, it's just a kind of video. So, a couple of things before we start. A, I am nervous about making this video. B, do not come to me expecting me to be the authority on everything indigenous, everything Native American. I'm not. I do not claim to speak for all Native people. I speak for myself. That is it. Third, I am Cherokee. That means I can only specifically speak on Cherokee experience. I cannot speak on cultural aspects of any other tribe or a group of people. However, I can speak in shared experience, if that makes sense. There are a lot of things with a bunch of different tribes where the experiences are similar and I can kind of relate to them, but I cannot speak specifically on anything that is not Cherokee. I want you to understand that. Thank you. So I am feeling some kind of way this good Thursday morning. I woke up, I got on Instagram, which you should go follow me, by the way, because I've started posting a lot more on Instagram. Got on Instagram, immediately got pissed off. Got on Twitter to get away from Instagram, immediately got pissed off. And you might be saying, Brody, what could have pissed you off so much that you got off of both social medias and decided to film a video talking about why you're pissed off? Do you want to guess? That's right, racism. So, what I'm going to be talking about today is my experience being a Cherokee person existing on Booktube, on Bookstagram, on BookTwitter. I've done a Q&A in the past. This is not a Q&A. This is me talking one-on-one to you. If you don't like what I want to say, I don't give a fuck. If you don't like what I say, then I ask that you fuck off of my video. Thank you. Bye. So, first things first, I want to talk about, I have books here. I don't know what I'm going to be talking about, what book specifically I'm going to be talking about. I guess we should start with the one that I have been the most vocal about over on my Instagram, and that is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. This book came out recently. It came out July 14th of 2020. I loved it. I got an e-arc of it. I gave it 5 stars. I highly encourage all of you to go read it. So, what I'm going to be talking about with this one is the way that just all of the drama that's been happening surrounding this book. So first thing, I want to say thank you to Saga Press for sending me a copy of this book. I really appreciate it. They sent me a finished copy. Like I said, I had already gotten the e-arc whenever it was marked as read now on NetGalley. So, yeah. Thank you to Saga for sending me a finished copy. So, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have noticed some passive-aggressive stories that I've been posting talking about how you should prioritize Native reviewers over white reviewers when it comes to Native books. So today I'm going to be addressing why I have posted those. There was a photo that got posted of the Only Good Indians that had some offensive props in it. Some like stereotypical Native props, ignoring the cultural aspects and the fact that I'm pretty sure those props came from Target instead of like an actual Native person. And the way that the review of the book was worded. I understand reading critically. I am very critical of a lot of things that I read. However, if you're going to be critical of a work, then you need to make sure that you have the experience to be critical of that work. If you are a non-Native person, then you do not have the experience or the right to judge the cultural aspects of a book critically. If you are not Blackfeet, you do not have the experience or the right to judge the cultural aspects of the Only Good Indians. That being said, I understand if you don't like the way a book is written, if you don't like the sentence structure of a book, if you don't like the characters or the plot or whatever. I like all of that. But to directly address the fact that you gave this book a low rating because you didn't get it and that you couldn't relate to it, that's a problem. That's racist. And then to imply that this is a bad book because you didn't get it is a problem. That's an issue. You don't address the racism in your comment section. You talk over Native Americans who are talking about what you've done. And then you say, well, I talked to some Native people and they said it was okay to leave it up. I've been saying ever since I read The Only Good Indians that this is not a book for white people. I've been very vocal on Twitter about how white reviewers are going to get a hold of this book and they are going to trash it and they are going to ruin the reputation of this book so that the whole community will ignore it like they usually do Native work. I was correct. Not right before the book's release date, whenever first week sales are some of the most important sales, you are actively having people not buy the book, not read the book, not support the book at the time whenever it's most important for people to support and read the book. If you're not indigenous, you aren't going to understand the importance of basketball in this book and how basketball has saved a lot of kids from a bad path in life. If you are not indigenous, you are not going to understand the plot of intergenerational trauma, the theme of intergenerational trauma. You are not going to understand why you have to use every part of an animal that you kill and why you can't let anything go to waste. You are not going to understand any of that. So what makes you think that you have the right to comment on any of that? Because you don't. And you can say you're sorry all you want, but the fact of the matter is that this happened in the year of our Lord 2020. Okay, it is 2020. If you want to check out Native reviews of The Only Good Indians, I will leave my Instagram link down below. There's a highlight that you can click on that has links to a ton of Native bookstagrammers. Most of us have done reviews of The Only Good Indians because a lot of us got copies thanks to my friends Danny and Aaron from Thunderbird Woman Reads and Aaron's Library. That leads me to my next topic of conversation. So, as I said, Saga sent me this book. Saga also sent me an arc of one of my most anticipated releases of the year, Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. Look at that. Me, a Native American, getting 2 books from a publishing house that are by Native American authors. That's fantastic. The problem is, I did not get these books until Danny and Aaron put in the work. So essentially what was happening was that white people were getting approved for arcs of Black Sun and The Only Good Indians. Native people were getting actively declined. Whenever the community started noticing this, people started calling out the publishing company, saying, why are you prioritizing white reviewers over Native reviewers for Native books? We know why. It's because they're white. A lot of white bookstagrammers who found out about this started messaging Danny and Aaron saying, I really want to pass my arc of The Only Good Indians off to an Own Voices reviewer. Do you know of any? So, Aaron and Danny are the reasons why a lot of us receive these arcs. Danny and Aaron are aunties in the making. So since that whole debacle, I have received these 2 books. I have received Empire of Wild by Sherry Dumoulin, Paying the Land by Joe Sacco, as well as a couple of other e-arcs. Adding on to the Black Sun thing, I requested an arc of this. I sent an email asking about an arc. I got ghosted. And then, whenever the issue of The Only Good Indians happened, I also got offered Black Sun together. And while I am grateful, I am very grateful as a Native American to be receiving arcs and books by and about Native Americans. I can't help but feel like it's almost, why did it take a publishing company being called out on the anti-nativeness for me to get arcs? I get my arcs, I review them on time. Why did it take so long for me to be recognized and acknowledged? And why did it take racism for me to be recognized and acknowledged? That's not fucking cool. Like I said, I'm very grateful. I am so grateful that I get to get arcs now, and I get to support Native American authors who are like really pushing the way and stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, I should have been getting these in the first place, at least over white people, if not for the simple fact that I'm Native. I understand that, like, I have 1,000 and change followers, and in the grand scheme of things, that's not a whole lot. But as I said, had only indigenous people gotten arcs of the indigenous books, regardless of follow count, then we wouldn't be having this issue. My thing is that I want you as a non-native person, presumably you're watching this, to think about is the way that you talk about native books in comparison to the way that you talk about books by white authors with white characters. For example, I have two examples here that I think are prime examples. They're There by Tommy Orange. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I talk about it all the time. It's a multi-perspective story. I have seen so many people say, there are too many characters. I couldn't keep all the characters straight. Yet you have zero problems keeping all of the characters straight in books like Six of Crows. All of them have their own voice. All of them are well written as characters. It's the same thing with books like The Break by Katarina Vermette. Anything that has a cast of characters that is by a white author, you guys love. And you guys love to talk about how, like, those are your babies. And how you, like, love the different voices and how good of a hand this white lady or white dude has on these voices. But yet whenever it comes to a Native American person writing a multi-perspective Native American story, y'all suddenly can't keep track of more than two characters at a time. Or you want to talk about how Maggie from Trail of Lightning is too mean for you. But you love Mean Girls and other books. You love freaking the Regina Georges. You love Holly Chase from The Afterlife of Holly Chase. And you love Jude from The Cruel Prince. And you love all these tough bitches. But whenever it's a native woman, you have a problem with it. And she's too mean for you, and you can't relate, and you can't understand why she can't just loosen up, or why she's so cold. This one is another one that I've seen talked about lately that I have a problem with, and that is The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. Rick Riordan is a white man. I understand that. He is not Native American. However, as a Cherokee teenager, I think I was like 14 when this book came out, 14 or 15. I had never seen a Cherokee character in lit before, and as an adult, I still think Piper McLean is a fantastic example of a Native American character, especially a Cherokee character, living in an urban setting who is working on coming to terms with her heritage. That is something that hit home a lot for me as a white-passing urban native who was trying to come to terms with my heritage. But I see y'all dragging Rick Riordan to the ends of the earth because Piper wore feathers in her hair. So Rick Riordan is y'all's king. Rick Riordan is y'all's, like, book Twitter president, and you're still dragging him because of a native character that you have no grounds to speak on whether they are offensive or not. You say that Piper McLean is bad rep, but you have no clearance to go on. If you are not a Cherokee person, then I do not give a fuck about your opinion of Piper McLean. If you are not a Native American person, I do not give a fuck on your opinion of Native American characters. And here's the hard truth, but you shouldn't either. Okay? If you are a non-Native person watching a non-native reviewer, or reading a non-native review, or looking at a non-native person's bookstagram, and that person is talking about a native work, then you shouldn't really take much stock in it. I think you shouldn't take stock in it whenever it comes to them talking about the representation. Critiques about the writing style, about, you know, the character work, whatever, that's neither here nor there. That's a critical review. What's not a critical review is for you looking at representation and saying that this is bad representation, or giving a book a negative review because you do not understand the representation. And this goes for me too. I cannot speak to the cultural rep of any kind of book unless it is written by a Cherokee author. Books like My Sister the Serial Killer, or Slay by Brittany Morris, two of my favorite books of all time, but my opinion of the representation in this book does not matter, because I am not black. My opinion of the representation of any book, unless the author or character does not fit my marginalization, so that would be like autistic, Cherokee, non-binary, bisexual, unless I share an identity with that author or that character, then I don't get to talk about that, and you don't either. I love the characters in Slay. I love the world building in Slay. That's something that I can comment on. I love the tension in My Sister the Serial Killer. That's something that I can comment on. And like the writing in Ghost Squad, or the setting in The Light at the Bottom of the World, or the romance and Tell Me How You Really Feel. Those are things that I can comment on, but I can't comment on the rep. And I wish that you would stop feeling qualified to comment on Native culture whenever you are not Native. Another thing I think we should talk about is viewing people as a monolith. I've talked about it quite a bit in this video, but Native people are not a monolith. So my culture is very different from Autumn from Chapter Malayumpkins, who is Apache, or Wheezy, who is Muskogee, or any of them, anyone. And I don't have the same experience as someone who is from another tribe or from another nation. I don't. So taking it back to another little bit of drama that happened in June, the Lit Joy Crate thing. The Lit Joy Crate, they included a dream catcher in one of their crates. It was not made by an Ojibwe artist. That's cultural appropriation. In their apology, which was another thing. I will leave a Twitter thread linked down below where I talk about it because I had thoughts. Their apology, they apologized to all Native people of the Americas. That's 2 whole continents that you're apologizing to when you only needed to apologize to one. It is not the place of any Native American person to accept that apology unless you are Ojibwe and you are from the culture that was harmed. Stop viewing us all as a monolith. None of us are experts on Native issues whenever it comes to the communities as a whole. Now, oftentimes, I don't speak on issues. And here's why. It's a little discouraging to be a part of a community that rides so hard for diversity and rides so hard for inclusivity and talks all the time about how, racism is bad and we don't accept that in our community. But you accept it when it comes to Native American people. Book Twitter, where everyone was riding so hard for being anti-racist and supporting everyone and boosting creators and X, Y, and Z. Where's that same thing for Native creators? I'm not saying that I deserve to be boosted just because I'm Native. What I'm saying is if you claim that you don't accept racism, then why are you still following these people? And the reason that I don't talk about this is because y'all ignore it whenever I do. I can almost guarantee I will lose subscribers from this video. I will lose followers on Twitter. I will lose followers on Instagram. Because every time I talk about this, it makes y'all uncomfortable and y'all don't want to hear it. Twilight. This is a huge one. Twilight is always a topic of conversation on book Twitter. And I honestly kind of wish that we would just leave it alone. Because I'm tired of hearing about Twilight. I'm tired of hearing about how you thought Jacob Black was good Native American representation whenever I have made full threads, which I will leave linked down below, about why the Native rep in Twilight is harmful. And whenever Black Sun was announced... editing Brody from the future here, I do want to say that while I was so angry and flustered, I mixed up Black Sun and Midnight Sun. So whenever I am talking about Twilight, I am referring to Midnight Sun, which is the new Twilight revamp thing that's getting published from Edward's point of view, and not Black Sun, the Rebecca Roanhorse book. Everyone was talking about how excited they were, and I said, hey, this is problematic, this is racist, this is harmful, here are all the reasons why. I was subtweeted by so many members of the community telling me that I should shut up and let people enjoy things, and I was only dragging it because it was something that people had nostalgia for. People were telling me that I should shut up and stop talking about racism because they enjoyed it when they were a teenager. I want you to think about that. We talk about how we don't allow racism, but then whenever I talk about racism, you tell me that I need to be quiet about it because it's upsetting to you. How do you think it feels to me? Okay, and the exact same thing with Dread Nation. I'm setting this one up here too. I made a video last November talking about Dread Nation and why it was problematic and why it was harmful to Native American people, why it was problematic to include basically the boarding schools. If you don't know about that, Google it. I need to calm down. My heart is beating very fast right now. After I made that video, I got a bunch of dislikes on it. People were saying that I should be quiet. I got a hate video made about me about it. Some guy made a hate video about me because I talked about why Justina Ireland should not have written Dread Nation the way that she did. Even though I addressed positive things in the review, I said that I appreciated queer characters of color in a historical fiction setting. I appreciated this, I appreciated that. The only thing that I took issue with, and the only thing that I wanted to address in that video, and the only thing that I wanted to bring to light in that video, was the fact that the co-opting of Native American trauma was problematic. I got a hate video made for me about that. No one said shit. No one checked on me. No one made sure I was okay. No one asked me how I was doing. Nothing. Nothing. Video is private now. I will not be reposting. I will not be re-uploading. I will not be doing anything like that. My Dread Nation review video was gone. Y'all made me take it down. And it's not just me that this happens to. This happens to a lot of us. Seeing Native American people get blocked for saying something is problematic, and your defense is that you are curating your space for your mental health. I don't buy into that. I'm sorry. I have mental health issues too. I understand it's very easy whenever something is affecting you to just block it, mute it, whatever. But if you are going to claim to be anti-racist and you are going to apologize and say that you did not understand, then what makes you think that blocking people who are coming at you with valid critique is the answer? Because it's not. It's not the answer. It's not a cute look. It's not that. If you can't handle it, log off. Log off for a couple of days, but don't go blocking people who are coming at you with valid critiques. If someone tells you that what you did was racist, you need to own up and accept the fact that what you did was racist. And whenever people from the group that is affected are telling you that what you did was bad, you can't just say like, oh no, it wasn't bad, I'm fine. That's not how that works. Okay, and then to block people and say that you are curating your space, but then denying that you're blocking people, or saying like, oh, we're gonna unblock them later. That's not cute. That's not good. I'm over it. I'm shaking right now. I don't know where I'm going with this video. I don't know what the point of this video is. I probably pissed a lot of you off. Sorry, not really. Go check out all the stuff that I have linked down below. Go follow all the people who are on my native highlight. Just support us. And stop pretending that you do whenever you don't. Just please stop the fake allyship, the performativity. You are not going to address the racism directed towards Native Americans, then you are not anti-racist. Stop saying that you are. A lot of you are probably going to think that this is stupid, but I have expended a lot of emotional energy addressing all of this today. I have put in a lot of work for this community to get paid dust, okay? I am ignored, and whenever I'm not ignored, I'm silenced. I'm over it. This community has nearly driven me off this platform so many fucking times, and the only reason that I haven't yet is because I am one of the few native booktubers on here who can address this stuff, and it needs to be addressed, and y'all aren't gonna address it, so someone has to. And I guess that someone's gonna be me. I can't do an outro. I can't do a comment question. I can't tell you to leave a fucking heart. I'm so infuriated. I'm about to cry. I am mad. So yeah, do better. Just do better. And make sure you're actually supporting people who you claim that you're an ally to. Make sure you're putting in the work. That you're unlearning your own prejudices. And yeah.